Hello, welcome to another episode of Mika's World Tour. I'm Mika and this is my world tour. Because of this pandemic, I can't travel. Well, nobody can't. Somewhere in the middle. Can't. I can't travel. Well, nobody can't. And this is my way to travel from this chair and talk to people all around the world. And this week's episode, we're gonna go to Iceland and witness the volcano activity there. Join me. I was lost in my head, looked around, there was no one there. I got out to breathe the fresh air. See the bruise there? There is a bruise. I wasn't in a fight or anything exciting. I'm not saying fighting exciting. Well, it could be if you're fighting against dragons and that kind of stuff. Not in a outside of the bar, middle of the night. That's not exciting. That's just stupid. Well, anyway, this is this is an accident when I was putting trashes from my home to this trash can, what do you call it, bin, huge bin, and I was putting the trashes there and the top of the bin just attacked me here, and this is why the bruise. You should see the bin. I show it where I come from. Wow, anyway, this is why it is, so now you know. Well, this week we're gonna go to Iceland and we're gonna see probably some footage from the volcano explosion or this activity, and we have a special reporter there. When I'm saying special, we really have special reporter in the location. We are gonna talk to Ari Eldjárn, the stand-up comedian Ari Eldjárn, who has recently released Netflix special. Check it out, Ari Eldjárn, Pardon My Icelandic. Very funny. I watched it, I laughed it, and I loved it. And we're gonna talk to Ari. Where he lives, he can see the smoke coming from the volcano. So this is gonna be really exciting. I don't know what. He might have some video footage or something from that happening. I'm not sure, but we'll find out. So let's travel to Reykjavík, Iceland, and talk to Ari Eldjárn. Shall we? Yes, we shall. Let's do it. Reykjavík is the capital city of Iceland with a population of 135,000. The city is the largest of Iceland and the center of culture, economic, and governmental activity. On the March 20th, the long-dormant volcano in the Reykjanes Peninsula became active after 3 weeks of earthquakes on the area. The volcano is located only 32 kilometers away from Reykjavík and remains active for now. Ari Eldjárn, how are you?
Mika Eirtovaara.
How is life there, a land of ice and fire?
Well, there's a lot of ice and a lot of fire at the moment. It's really cold and there's a massive volcanic eruption. Well, not massive, apparently it's tiny, but people can go and see it with their own eyes, so that's massive.
Well, the rest of the world are thinking that you live in among the lava and fire, and you have to you have to jump over the lava river to get to school or into the job.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of social media posts where people are like outraged and shocked that Icelanders are standing on top of an active volcano, and all of a sudden everyone is an expert on how to approach volcanoes apparently. But the volcano is like it's in a valley, so you can approach it from a mountain and you can look down on it, and this gives you a vantage point. This is not like walking up a mountain that's like an exploding.
It's not like a Mount of Doom.
No.
No. Actually, you should probably do the opposite, not to tell how safe it is. You probably should say something like, oh my God, it's so terrible, it's so dangerous, but we are the tough ones, the Icelandic.
Great, let's just go with the cliches. You cut out that stuff I said earlier. Yeah, I mean, that's the way we roll, man. Born on a volcano.
Yeah, there was a shot in a Finnish paper that the mad Icelandic people are playing volleyball. They are playing volleyball next to the volcano.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what happens when everyone can visit it. That's what happens when 5,000 people a day can walk up to it. And but it's been great, man. It's been such a distraction. Weeks before it went off, there was a volcano. There was like earthquakes all the time. And people just knew that something was going to happen. And it's really close to the city. I can see it from my window. I can see like the smoke coming from it.
So you can see the volcano from your when you're eating breakfast. Oh, look at there's. Yeah, oh, and the volcano is awake.
And in the dark, in the night, I can see a massive orange glow on the horizon. So that's nice. It's great.
You know how much people would pay from that view?
Yeah, I bet. And apparently this is great for tourism, except there's not much tourism happening.
Everybody were in Iceland like tourist business where wait, volcano, wait, just 6 months. Then
there's a problem here with people are arriving to the country and you have to mandatory do like a self quarantine 5 days before you have to do, because you have to do a test and then another test in 5 days before you can go out. But apparently they've been busting people who just show up at the airport, do one test and then go straight to the volcano. So the volcano is apparently a threat in COVID. They put like a piece of rope on a mountain because there's a certain path that they sort of signposted for people to walk.
Yeah.
And there's a piece of rope you have to go up for the steepest part of it. And they're like, the public safety team was first going like, use the rope, people. Otherwise you might fall and hurt yourself. And then the day after they're like, don't touch the rope because of COVID.
Decisions. Which one is the worst?
Yeah, this is a death trap. So yeah, it's such a balancing act, everything.
Would you say that the earthquake, do you say earthquake? Before that was scarier than actually the volcano?
It's not scary. I mean, they don't get like super strong. Well, if you lived close to where it was happening, apparently it was it was more difficult for people to just like, it wasn't like things got ruined or trashed, but they were just constantly happening in the middle of the night. So everyone was like waking up all the time. And a lot of people had trouble sleeping properly because at the back of their mind, they're always like expecting a little tremor. But once the volcano started, the earthquakes pretty much died down. They were like a prelude or a warning that something was up. And apparently the lava coming from this particular volcano is coming from a very, very deep place. Often like the sort of chamber that feeds the eruption tends to be like a few kilometers below the surface, but this is apparently like 10 to 17 kilometers into the earth. So it's like a very primitive lava. And I actually grabbed a piece of the lava. I have it here somewhere.
Really?
Possibly. Yeah, I'll find it later.
You allowed to do that?
Yeah. I mean, it's not like it's a limited resource, this lava. It's just, I don't know how many metric tons per second it is, but it's just nonstop. And there's like 3 fissures now. We had like one first, and then we had another one, and then a third one appeared. So it's happening at 3 places at the same time. But I went and saw it 2 days after it started going. So I saw the original crater.
Oh.
And it was quite picturesque. Everyone told me before, like, the authorities were like, oh, well, it's not a remarkable volcano. It's a pretty small eruption. You know, we probably won't give it a name. You know, it's that forgettable. It's probably going to die down in a couple of days. And it did not. It just went on and on and on. And when I approached it, it just looked like what a volcano would look like in a cartoon. it just looked like a, it was this picture perfect cartoonish crater.
You sent me a picture. Is this your, let's see a picture. This one.
Yeah, that's the good old crater.
Did you take that yourself?
Yeah. I took this on my iPhone, and because I was there so early, the lava field around it was pretty small, so you could go really close to it. And now, if you go there, you would have to stand, I think, 100 meters away or something, or 200 meters away.
So how close is that? How close are you now in that picture?
This is tens of meters. I'm not sure. This is zoomed in, though. I will tell you that. Okay. But I mean, it's taken on an iPhone, so you can't go that close with an iPhone.
No.
And then when I was standing like on a mountain with an overview, there was maybe 1,000 people there. We saw this crater crumble, like half of it just exploded. Oh, it was beautiful. And I sent you a video of that.
Yeah, let's watch it later.
It was just crazy view. But yeah, this has been like the main source of distraction and inspiration over here in an otherwise pretty monotonous Groundhog Day scenario that we have like everyone else.
Sorry, say it again, that one. I was watching the...
No, I got bored myself saying that sentence. No.
Yeah, day like everybody else. Sorry, I was watching... I was just watching. Is it recording? Yes, it is.
I don't blame you for zoning out.
I'm sorry. You're like a Groundhog Day. Yeah, like every day. Oh, there it is again.
Yeah, it's like a nice distraction from the ground.
You won't miss it until it ends.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is going to be a period in time. It's going to be like when the black market was thriving in World War II, and people could sell an egg from their trench coat for like hundreds of dollars. And afterwards you're like, oh yeah, it was difficult times, but damn, they were good for business. Yeah. It wasn't all bad. I sold some eggs.
So how's this been business for you, this COVID? You're a stand-up comic. Have you had just a lot of Zoom gigs?
Yeah, there was a lot of them happening last year before Christmas. But the thing that we experienced over here is that when it first started in March last year, when they first started with some lockdowns and restrictions, the goal was to flatten the curve, to lower cases and just protect the hospitals. But then the virus disappeared completely. So things were pretty much reopened, and we had like a maximum amount of 500 people could gather last summer. We had like 2 months that were like bona fide COVID free completely. And I think this changed a lot what the goal was. Now the goal no longer was to just like keep it down. It was just like, let's get rid of it completely. So it's been back a couple of times. We've had a couple of waves since then. And we always just go into harder restrictions. And last time we had like a big wave, the restrictions were like implemented gradually, like always fewer and fewer people. But now we're having like a new wave, and they just went straight to maximum restrictions. So as a result, there is still an idea in people's heads that soon it'll be over. And as a result, Zoom gigs disappear, because Zoom gigs really only appear when you know that there is no chance to have a physical gig in the foreseeable future. But if you have like the possibility of, let's see how it is in 2 months. In 2 months, we might be able to do it. Then you just don't get Zoom gigs. So, I mean, what happened last year was in November and December, just before Christmas. That's like when all the companies realized we're not going to be able to do anything. Let's just do it on Zoom. So that was like a mini boom, a Zoom boom, if you will. But it's really slow now.
Okay. You like those Zoom gigs? Do you enjoy them?
I do and I don't. I do like them for the fact that you do not travel. You can stay at home. You can literally phone it in. And I think they're good as long as you can see the people and you can see their heads like move. You know, you don't have to hear them. You just have to be...
You don't have to hear them.
No, you just need to know that they're not doing anything else, or that they're like not hearing you. You just need to know that they're in touch with you. Then you have some rhythm.
Yeah.
But I do not like doing a Zoom gig where you don't see people, where you're just talking to a camera. That is just really difficult. That's just like going in front of a Senate hearing or something. It's like being questioned by the police. But still, you never know. Maybe they enjoy it on the other side.
Maybe you can be the first comic who is doing a gig next to volcano.
Yeah. I did like a segment for Andre Wikström and Stan Sanila where I stood next to the volcano and they asked like, what's happening in Iceland? And I had the volcano going like, no, there's nothing happening now. The government is trying to change unemployment benefits. And like,
business as usual.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the, actually, I was again talking, we could talk about that Zoom gigs forever and then nobody would be interesting about two comics talking about Zoom gigs. But
it's always good to have a nice little whining session.
Yeah. Whining session. Look at it. Straight from volcano, Ari Eldjárn reporting. Nothing's happening here. There's nothing special happening here. Go home. Yeah.
I like the little people at the bottom of the frame. It's
there! I didn't even notice that. Yeah. So you do have little people in Iceland?
Apparently we do. We have hidden people, elves and trolls and whatnot. Well, the trolls are really visible online today, but they're mythical historically.
Yeah. So this is what day did you went there again? I mean, when it all started, how long did you wait, or were you just like a first one?
No, it started on the 19th of March, which is my wife's 40th birthday. So it started at the end of her birthday in the evening, and then I went 2 days later. We went out for like a late birthday dinner with some friends the day after, and my brother sent me a text. We were having like cocktails, and it was like 8 in the afternoon, and my brother sent me a text like, "We're going tomorrow.
Yeah,
we're gonna go, and we're gonna wake up at 6 in the morning. Do you want to join us?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm a few cocktails in, but I'll go." And I cut up the booze just before midnight, and then I went to bed. Woke up really early and just made some random sandwiches and found some random clothes. Put on way too many layers, and then because we arrived there so early, there was no clear way of where you should go, and we walked I think 22 kilometers that day, all in all, just to find it. 11 kilometers each way. But man, yeah, it was insane. It's like you cannot explain what it's like to see this. I've lived here my whole life and I've never seen one with my own eyes. I've seen hours of footage, but when you see it with your own eyes, you just realize that this is supernatural. Like you can't explain the color. It's just so violently orange.
And that was really interesting for me when you said it's coming from the deep place. So it's coming like a really deep place, right? Straight from the hell.
Yeah, and this particular place has not erupted in 6,000 years. And this is not far from the airport. This is like, this is a place that people have been saying like, yeah, well, this hasn't erupted for thousands of years. Well, we probably will not live to see this happen. Well, we did.
For a long time, it's people talk about that in Finnish ice hockey, about this one world champion we won, 95, and people like, never gonna happen again, never gonna happen again. Fortunately, or Eurovision contest, never gonna happen again. With Lordi, that was volcano explosion.
Oh, it was so good. Yeah. Oh, it was so good. I lived in London when Lordi won, and everyone rooted for Finland. Everyone.
Yeah. Now we have like a heavy metal song again. In a Eurovision contest.
Yeah.
But how is that different when you said it's near to airport? When was it when there was this volcano dust that stopped all the aircraft in Europe?
That one was in the south, but it was under a glacier, and it was like, I don't know, 100,000 times bigger than this. And because it's under a glacier, there's an explosion that happens, and all of the material gets mixed with steam and ice, and that creates these fine particles of ash, and the ash is the problem. If the ash goes into like jet engines, it turns into glass, and then the engines explode or something. So that's why they grounded everything. That was just absolutely insane. I was in Denmark doing a gig when that happened, and when we were going to go back home from Denmark, we got word that Icelandair no longer is based in Iceland. Say what? The headquarters have been temporarily relocated to Glasgow. Really? Yeah, Glasgow Airport is Iceland's airport now. Okay. So we had to fly to Glasgow, and then we caught some flight there. We didn't have seat numbers. It was just like emergency operations. And then we flew to Iceland, and at the very end, they said, like, due to the unforeseeable nature of the volcanic ash cloud, we do not know if we're going to land in Reykjavík, Keflavík, Akureyri, or Egilsstaðir. And I was like, I hope we do not land in Egilsstaðir. It's like a 9-hour drive away from Reykjavík. But then they said, we are landing in Akureyri. I was like, good, that's only 6 hours. That's great. And we landed on this tiny airport. It was almost too small for the Boeing, and the plane just landed and then like violently braked, and it was crazy. I don't know how that was like a huge bonus for us, because we were the country was coming from like a financial crisis, and this volcano really put the country back on the map.
How is that?
It just became like it happened at the same time that Instagram and Twitter and everything was just taking off. So it just became a natural ad campaign for the country as a destination. Like tourism exploded after the volcano.
And you say it by accident. It must be those little peoples. It must be those little peoples.
I had a bit about it before the volcano went off. One of my earliest bits was like, because Iceland owed so much money to foreign banks. And I had this joke about like, what we need now is a volcano. That's going to save us. You don't collect money from people who are like trying to put out fire from a lava. And then it happened like a month later. It was nice. I felt like Nostradamus.
How about you? We're talking about planes. Have you ever go away from Iceland by boat?
I've never. Well, I did when I was like 2. There was a cruise ship that ran to Iceland for a couple of summers called the Edda. Yeah. And my parents went on there, and my older brothers and me were there. I don't remember anything about it, but I've seen some pictures of a fairly dilapidated cruise ship. And apparently it was not a very luxurious cruise ship, because the seas were really rough. So people were more or less, trying to drink and smoke at a bar and then just trying not to puke. But there is one really nice one that goes to Iceland, a ferry that goes from Iceland to the Faroe Islands and other countries. That one is called Smyril. But I've never been on it. I've only flown since I was 2.
That would be really interesting. I've never been there. I always wanted to come there.
Bring money.
Bring money. Well, you don't want me there. I've been out of work almost a year now.
Yeah. Oh, man. God damn it this time.
Yeah. So I always ask in this my world tour from my quest, where would you take me if we don't? The volcano would be now place to go, I think, but in a normal time,
I would take you there. Yeah.
In normal time, where would you take me in Iceland?
I would take you to the north, where they filmed Game of Thrones. Because I was into that shit before it was cool. And
have you read the book?
No. But I watched all the shows.
I did.
And did you like it?
Yes. So I was more into it than you were. So
yeah. No, like the lava fields over there. I don't know if you're familiar with a Norwegian metal band called Dimmuborgir.
No, I don't. No.
Well, they take their name from that area. There's a place there called Dimmuborgir. It means like dark cities. And that's a very Game of Thrones-ish place. And they filmed some of it there. So I would take it there, and I would show you like the geothermal area around there. There's a place called Lakagigar. or no, it's not Lakagígar, sorry, Námaskarð. If you would Google Námaskarð in Iceland, you would see these like clay, bubbling clay pits, and it looks like the planet Mars. It's beautiful and crazy dangerous.
And that where would you take me and not bring him back?
Yeah. There have been some thoughts now.
It's like, really nice there, so
yeah, you would enjoy it. Now, apparently, if you push someone into like a volcano, you will not have a problem with forensics recovering any evidence. Like the minute a person falls into the lava, they just disappear. Like nothing is left. Pretty gruesome stuff.
I was just reading from Helsinki newspaper of Helsinki Sanomat.
Sanomat, yeah.
Sanomat. They just review that the best books, like what do you call those? Decors. What?
Decor.
No, all those like Joe Nesbø. What are those?
Yeah. The crime novels.
Crime novels. The best crime novels at the moment comes from Iceland.
Really?
Yes, I can't remember who wrote. There was some particular writer, but I can't remember who he was. But
so there's Ragnar Jónasson, there's Yrsa Sigurðardóttir, and then the king Arnaldur Indriðason.
I think it was Ragnar.
Ragnar is like very, very hot right now.
Yeah.
And his books are selling really well in America, I think. But Arnaldur, he lives next door to me. I see him every day, like walking in his garden, thinking. And I think he's just thinking, okay, so for my 24th Nordic noir novel, I shall kill... Who shall I kill? A comedian who never takes down his daughter's trampoline, even in winter. That's who I will kill in my next novel.
I imagine if you jump in. You live by the sea. Yeah. Yeah. If the wind is blowing and you're jumping, you have to jump like this, and it brings the wind brings you back to the trampoline. So you can't jump straight. You just have to.
I had to anchor the trampoline deep into the ground, straight into the depths of the lava, because it would just keep blowing off into the ocean. It's like really windy over here.
So what animals you see there? If you're living by the sea, like, is it like say that, oh, there is a volcano, oh, there's a whale, oh my God.
There's always ravens on our house. Yeah. Before we painted the roof was like silver colored before we painted it, because it's like corrugated iron. And when it was silver colored, there was always like 5 ravens just chilling out on the roof, like, yo, this is where I live, because it's bling, it's like, it's jewelry for them. It's shiny. They love shiny stuff. But I see them every day, and they're always just flying around. There's ducks in the ocean. There's often ducks by my garden, so we go and feed the ducks from the garden. And there is a seal that appears here quite regularly and has a special rock in the just by the what do you call it, like, not harbor, but we have like a small beach. There's a small kind of beach, so there's a big rock there, and you would see this seal just chilling there all the time. I haven't seen this particular seal for a while. But yeah, and there's lots of birds too. There's also there's some natural phenomenon here, just off like 200 meters into the sea. There's it's like a upstream of some sorts, and you can sometimes see a lot of birds gathering around it, and it's quite beautiful. It's like a circle of different birds. After some point, I realized that this is just a sewage pipe, so that's why they're there. I thought it was just like, one of nature's conundrums. The circle gathering of the sea. No, wait, that's just warm water from toilets. Okay.
Do you have any like foxes or anything like that?
Yeah, we have Arctic foxes, but I think they're mainly in the west. Mm-hmm. They are like the only native mammal in this country. They were here way before people, and God knows how they arrived, probably on a glacier or something. So they're here. Never seen one with my own eyes.
Well, I have to come there and show you the foxes.
Yeah. I mean, it's easy to find them. There's a couple of tiny little fjords in the west where apparently they like to hang out because they don't care for people. And I would take you, if I would take you anywhere in Iceland that I've never been myself, I would take you to Hotstrandir in the west. And that's like a completely deserted place. Like some people used to live there. There's almost nothing there. It's just like unspoiled, mostly unspoiled nature and no mobile connection. And just insane scenery. You can Google that. There's a guy who went on YouTube. He's an American who filmed it with a drone and documented his walk. He was there for a few days. It's bonkers how beautiful it is.
Oh my God. I would love to. Everybody say when I'm talking to you or Hugleikur Dagsson, you always say, don't come here summer because it's full of tourists. Come in the winter time, but it must be really rough. It must be really rough in the winter time.
Well, it's not full of tourists anymore. That's like people are getting used to that now. Like, hey, you can go and see all the sites. There's no one there. Which is great for
it's
privacy,
really nice.
horrible for currency.
What did you do? Have you studied something before you went into comedy? What did you do?
I was struggling to find a place in life that I was happy with and content and focused in. I always wanted to be a filmmaker, but I wound up going to film school and studying screenwriting. And then I kind of just fell into copywriting for an ad agency, which was a nice job at the time, pretty well paid, considering like the stuff that I'd done before. I used to just do a lot of like labor, just a lot of digging holes and stuff like that for like contractors who would renovate streets and pipes. But yeah, I did that film school for a year, and then I fell into this copywriting gig at an advertising agency. Was a flight attendant as well, and then 2 summers. Amazing stuff. Could not do it again though. You have to wake up really early, but really nice job for then. And then I became a comedian. I think I just became a comedian because I was kind of disqualified for most everything else.
Was there like what was it like to start stand-up comedy in Iceland? Where did you start? When did you begin?
There's nothing happening here. Me and some friends just did like an open mic night that we arranged ourselves, and it was just like an experiment. All of us were like kind of involved in something related to performing in one capacity or other. We'd all dabbled in like, in school we'd been in like debates and stuff like that. We'd all had some stage experience, but it was really a big leap of faith to do it for the first time.
When was this?
2009 was the first gig. And it went well. We got booked. We got a paid gig like the next month. Took a road trip to the north. Wound up doing a paid gig. This is like our 3rd or 4th gig ever at an art museum. And I think there was just a lot of need for stand-up at the time and a lot of appetite for it. Also, it happened after the bank collapse. So we had a lot of topical stuff about that. And it was just, I think it was, in hindsight, it was like a really good time to start doing comedy. But at the time, there was no plan. It was just like a dare. Let's just do it. But we just kept doing it, and we're still doing it. Although this group has not performed now for, I think, 2 years because of COVID, and we took a year off.
Okay.
So yeah, it's 11 years. No, this is my 12th year. This is my 12th year.
But a lot of things has happened since. I mean, you've been all around the world.
Yeah, mainly Finland though. Mainly Finland.
But you now released the Netflix special.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that. How did that happen? I mean,
I just decided to go for years I've been doing these Nordic festivals, primarily Finland, where I have been doing my English version of my Icelandic stuff, and always just doing my best 15. And one of the bits in the special I wrote the night that I met you for the first time in 2011. I remember very vividly sitting in a dressing room in MWT Theater in Turku. There was this like Turku theater.
It was like at this festival, right?
Yeah. It was like a landskamp.
Oh,
so it was you and Pirje, and I think Stan was the MC, and then Andre. And
I remember this. This was Swedish theater.
Yeah.
Turku,
so
Swedish
theater, and that's why I called it. I think it was called Åbo something. Anyway,
Åbo Svenska Teatern.
Yeah. So Stan at some point referred to me as the ghost of Tove Jansson. I don't know why, but I remember just before that happened, we were sitting in the dressing room. I was writing a set list, and I was trying to write an opening bit that kind of evolved into a bit that's in the Netflix special. And as I was like thinking, I looked at you, and you were writing your set list, and you looked at me, and you looked at me like I was trying to copy your set list, which was all in Finnish, and you went like. It was like we're doing an exam.
So that's why the Netflix special sounds so familiar.
So you were just like writing Moikka, terve. Oh, you were writing Finnish words, and I was like, I'm gonna copy his answers, see how I do. But,
I do remember that. Remember that. Yes.
It was the first time we met.
Yeah, that's actually the only time I have performed in that particular place. So.
Amazing. That was 10 years ago, man. Mm-hmm. 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I wound up taking this show and bits and pieces to Edinburgh in 2017, and I met a great manager there, an agent.
Did you do the whole festival? I mean, the whole month?
Yeah. I was recommended to do the entire festival. I was only going to do 2 weeks, but the guy who booked me there said like, nah, mate, you don't want to do just 2 weeks, mate. If you got a good show, and if it goes rolling, and if it gets, I mean, a lot of people come in the last few days, and you regret going back. If you were having a lovely fringe, you'd regret having to go back. So the month, and I did the month, and I got an agent like on the second last day or something.
How was it before that? Because I've been talking to some comedians, and they all said, like Mike Wilmot said, Edinburgh can eat you alive.
Yeah, it can. Well, there was like it was 2,800 shows, I think, competing there. Each one being performed 20 times on average. Yeah. So you're up against 50,000 other performances basically over the run. But I was lucky. I was in a small room in a club that was really popular during this fringe, the Monkey Barrel. It was brand new, and word got out, and I sold out every show.
Oh my God!
So
that must be like a really, really, really good experience, and you get to craft your, your English set must of that must be like comes to really like a really tight set.
I had been told to expect that I might only have like one person for a show, or have like a couple of shows where there was no one. We would have to pull them, and I was very lucky that didn't happen, because I did manage to sell enough tickets beforehand. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I got some press before I came there, and there was some buzz.
Did you do any radio shows and that kind of stuff? Because
yeah. Random stuff got booked. I didn't have an agent for the run, but random stuff did get booked. I had encountered some BBC people in Iceland who were doing like the arts show, the arts hour. So they had interviewed me and I'd done a stand-up for them, and really nice. So they pointed me towards someone at the BBC. So I got to perform at the BBC tent. And then I got booked there to do like a radio show, a Scottish radio show, called the Janice Forsett Show. And I think the average age in the crowd was 50 to 60. And the day after I did that interview, you could see the age of the people coming to my show rising considerably. And like, I think the guy working at the club was like, "All right, you've summoned your grey army." And I did some radio, and I did every single extra show that I could to fly here and promote. And that's a great
hard
experience.
work. I have heard the month is really hard work.
It is, and it is especially hard here because you get sucked into it so quick, and if you're not careful to take yourself out of it a little bit, you can get so obsessed with like numbers. What about the numbers? Which is like, how many tickets have we sold? What are the numbers? What are the numbers looking like for the week tonight? Numbers. There was a guy I heard about this guy who was talking to another comedian, and he said, "Right, how's it going? How's the show going?" "Oh, it's good. It's good. Yeah, I think I'm really getting the structure of it." "Numbers, cunt. Numbers." We just wanted to know how many people. "Oh, about 50. Right, thank you." And
as a spectator, I've been there like, I don't know, 3-4 times. As a spectator, it's unbelievable. I mean, the whole festival is like, it's like a candy store where you go in. I want to see that. I want to see that.
And everyone gets sick there. Everyone gets the fringe flu. After 2 weeks, everyone gets a stuffy nose and a virus of some sort because of the microphones being shared. And so much of the stuff that happened at the festival is possibly never going to happen again because of COVID. I would stand outside my show and shake people's hands. I mean, "Hey man, thanks for the show, man." Like, if anyone wanted to shake my hand, I would shake it. Today, like, nobody shakes hands, period.
Have you noticed, I have noticed, cut myself from when I was watching some movie or TV show and I see people shaking hands or being really close to themselves. Don't! You shouldn't be doing that. Like in old movies.
I always like, when I see that now in a movie, I'm always like, "Ha! That's pre-2020, man." It's this is like watching Mad Men, where everyone is like smoking cigarettes, putting your child to bed, like, "Go to bed, honey." And you're like, well, they didn't know any better. It's the same.
The coolest TV show that people are still smoking is the Peaky Blinders. Have you watched?
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I've heard great things about it.
Always smoking the main character. I never smoked, but I almost started because of him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Old like this metal box when he's like opening it and there is a smoke and then it's really classy.
It's so beautiful for the camera. Smoke is just like mesmerizing. But yeah, the Edinburgh stuff was, I just threw myself in. I did it again 2 years later. More shows were on then, but overall attendance was lower. So it was even more competitive because nobody was really selling out the show. And I was in a larger room, so I only sold out 1 or 2 shows. I still pulled in the same numbers that I did the first time, but I just had double the capacity. So there was never any feeding frenzy. Oh, entire run sold out. That never happened.
How big was the venue?
It was, I think, the first year it was 70 people. The second year, I think it took 120 people. Okay. So I was pulling maybe on average like 60 to 70 people, which in the small room would have been absolutely packed.
Yeah.
But I couldn't go back to the small room because it was so hot in there. It's like, I have a video of me performing the day my manager came to see me, and I'm drenched in sweat.
How many shows did you have?
For the entire run?
I mean, for a week, for the basic week, regular.
For the basic week, I would do like 6 of my solo show at the Monkey Barrel, and then I would do probably a similar amount of like guest spots. So I probably did 10 to 12 gigs a week. And the guest spots are more difficult because you're going into a new venue and you have other people with you, and it either goes well or it doesn't. But
what's the one called Gilded Balloon?
Gilded Balloon, yeah.
Gilded Balloon, yeah. Yeah.
Right. So you have these umbrella organizations of different venues. Gilded Balloon has a lot of venues, and they're located in like this castle and around this old kind of castle.
Yeah.
So that Gilded Balloon is like a major player. Then there's a thing called Assembly, and then there's a thing called the Underbelly, and like each of these umbrellas represents like many rooms.
Assembly rooms. I can remember from watching some.
And Pleasance. And then I was part of the Monkey Barrel, which was new and was more of the fringe, was more like a free fringe or pay what you want fringe. You'd stand with a bucket. So there's like a Edinburgh festival, then there's a fringe, then there's a free fringe, and then there's a free fringe.
So you got the agent from nice agent from the Edinburgh, and it leads you to Netflix special.
Yeah.
By the end, it start from there, and then you did the Soho. I mean, you went to London. You did the Soho theater, right?
Yeah, and that was also like because of Edinburgh, because the guy who booked Soho just happened to see the show and said, let's try to do it. And it sold, and I got a nice crowd in London. Half of them at least were Icelanders, but then you would always get like locals as well. So that's a dream position to be in, to have like your home crowd show up when you travel, but then also get like the locals. Last time I performed in Copenhagen, I think I got like 80% Icelanders and 20% Danes. And I'm hoping that after the Netflix special, that will go more towards 50-50, because I do know that the Danes were very fond of this special because they are featured quite heavily in it.
Oh, yeah.
And most of the feedback online that I've seen is Danish. So, yeah, that's...
and after this podcast, Finnish people, because... I have 52 subscribers.
Yeah, but like I think also the reason why the run did well originally was because there was a video of me performing some of the material for like this Nordic Arts Award, and that's something that went viral in Finland because of a Finnish page called Very Finnish Problems.
Very Finnish Problems. I remember that.
So that's like my initial boost. It was a performance that somebody ripped and put on YouTube.
So how hard it was to get your own special from in Netflix? Did you try to do it for a long time, or was it just happened like really fast?
Oh, well, we always kind of aimed for trying to do one. And traditionally you would get like production company to take it on and to share the profits with. Usually the comedian will make a deal with the production company. The production company will put out the money and film it and make it, and then that gets sold to Netflix, and then expenses are recouped, and then they're split 50-50 or something. I don't know how it goes usually, but I was always going to film it abroad. That was like my thing. I thought it has to be filmed abroad. It cannot be filmed at home in front of local people, because this is a version of the show that's for foreign people who don't know anything about Iceland. But then time went on and I hadn't filmed it abroad, and I had never really found out where I would like to film it abroad. I mean, I've performed many places, but they're usually quite small. So I thought I want to do it in a theater, and I don't know if I can get enough people to go to a theater in London. Plus, it's very expensive, and I don't really know anyone in the film industry there. So in the end, when I was going to do my second Edinburgh run, I decided to just film it for archival purposes, just before it would become too old or I would forget it. But then I went like, I'm not going to just film it for archival purposes. I'm going to film it just in case in like glorious 4K. So that it's up to speed with like the present technology and what, for example, Netflix would require. And then it just sat unedited for a while. And then my director really took the reins by getting it finished, editing it. And at some point, Netflix started looking at it, and there was a dialogue, and it might happen and might not happen. And then all of a sudden it did. And I was very, very relieved that it did, because There was not a lot happening over here when it went on. It was in December last year.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that must become like kind of like a frustrating for you because of Netflix special, you could have more like an international crowd.
But it's so strange, this atmosphere that's around now. Like initially when I started to slow down because of COVID, I was like, you know what? I never slow down. I'm so nervous. I'm reaching exhaustion. I am in burnout danger. I'm going to relax and stay at home and just do nothing. And then I was really happy that I was just chill. And the Netflix special came out, and I did not have a fear of missing out. I was not like, oh man, I wish this would have happened during a normal time. I would have been slaying it, rolling around the world. I just found that I'm ready to relax. But now I find that I am getting way too used to not doing anything. And it's creeping up on you. I think like it's going to take years to figure out what COVID actually did for your mental health, because it did have good benefits in some respects for me. But now I'm starting to feel like, hang on, you have to get your drive back. You can't just relax all the time.
I have always worked really hard with everything like theater and stand-up and now when I haven't done it in a year, if somebody now asks me for the gig, I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, you become really used to it, and
you get used to it. As you said, I don't know yet what the COVID did for my mental health or my way to think, because I was always always trying to be better and making my set better, and now I haven't done it for a year, and now I realize how much energy it takes and took me to do that.
I at some point I thought it's going to be great if I can get this out of COVID, if I can get this everlasting guilt to go away, that like, oh, you're not good enough, you have to do it better. I have to think about, you know what this guy's doing, he's doing better than you. You can get rid of that stuff. That would be great. But I am afraid that once everything is over and things return to normal, whatever normal may be, I am a bit afraid that it's going to turn out that, no, you just took yourself out of it for a while, but you're still as messed up as you were before COVID, except now you're also tired.
But nobody can take the Netflix special from you.
No. Not unless I have some massive lawsuit happen to it or something. Yeah. No. I think it's...
Yeah, like a Finnish comedian who's saying, he stole my bits when we were performing in Åbo Svenska Theater 10 years ago. I saw him watching my paper.
I wrote down Perkele. And wow, he has a show. Yeah, but it was great to get the Netflix special made, because it's like a bucket list thing. It's like a thing you think, oh, it'd be nice to have, and then it's really interesting to just have done it and feel like, oh well, I don't have to prove that anymore. And okay,
I have only two things in my bucket list. Only two things: Netflix special and walking into the volcano. And you have.
Well, we can make one of those happen.
Listen, I ask you to think some artists from Iceland that you would love to bring up in this discussion. Did you have time to think somebody?
I mean, I think my favorite artist would be Ragnar Kjartansson. I think you just Google Ragnar Kjartansson. He's done like a lot of stuff. I think he was it Guggenheim or Museum of the Modern Art? He's done shows all over. He does these amazing installations where he films people doing stuff like singing or something for hours and hours, and his art is really interesting and funny. But my favorite thing that he ever did was that he was once a guest at Yoko Ono's show. There was a show that Yoko Ono was curating. She picked out a lot of people to do pieces for a sort of a joint show that she was hosting. And she asked him to present a piece. And he recreated a joke from The Simpsons. That was his work of art. There's this really funny scene in The Simpsons where Homer is in a band. It's a barbershop band. And then the band starts to suffer problems similar to the Beatles. And one of the problems is that Barney, Homer's friend, starts dating a Japanese conceptual artist, which is obviously Yoko Ono. And then there's a scene at the bar where Barney is asking for a drink and he has his girlfriend with him. And he's like, I'll have a beer, Mo. And then she says, I'll have a single plum floating in perfume served in a man's hat. And the bartender, without thinking, goes like, here you go. One beer and one hat with a plum floating in perfume. Like, it's just ready under the counter. So Raki, when Yoko Ono asked him to present a piece, his piece was a single plum floating in perfume served in a man's hat. He made that. And the internet heard about this, and it was quite funny. But he is hilarious, man. He is so funny. He used to be in a band with my brother, Ulfur. And this band was called Canada. And I got to perform with them once when they opened up for Rammstein.
Oh!
In front of 6,000 people who did not want to see Canada, just Rammstein.
Did you play bass? Did you play bass?
No, I was a scratch DJ just to make things interesting. I was like scratching. It's like this weird period in time where you had scratch DJs in rock bands. And they played like the opening song, and then the E string of the bass snapped after one song. The thickest string snapped, and 6,000 people were like, Rammstein, Rammstein, and they still had like 5 songs to play or something. So while the bass player just detuned the bass to make the A go down to E and just figure it out, because he didn't have a spare bass, the singer, who was Raki, the artist, he decided to entertain the crowd by taking off his T-shirt and shaking his man boobs. And I remember just watching that and thinking like, man, somebody who is that confident is going to go far.
We have a Spotify list for this this channel, Mika's World Tour. Are they in Spotify, the band?
No, I think the catalog of this particular company that they released their album at has not made it to Spotify yet. Sadly, it was a great band. No, they do not exist on Spotify.
So, what Icelandic band would you recommend for our list in our Spotify?
Well, my brother's other band I would really recommend, Apparat Organ Quartet. That's a band. Yeah, organ quartet. There's like 4 organ players and 1 drummer. It's a brilliant band, and it's like kind of like heavy metal, kind of like very hard rock music, but it's only organs, keyboards, and a drummer.
We will add that. Do they have music video in YouTube?
Yeah, there's a couple of old music videos there. One of the members and the founder of that group was Jóhann Jóhannsson, who passed away 3 years ago. He was an Icelandic film composer, and he was nominated for the Oscar twice. Once for The Theory of Everything, and the other one was, I think, Sicario, movie Sicario.
Yeah.
So this was his band with my brother, and the band still exists, although Johan is no longer with us. He had left the band also because he was, working in Hollywood. And some great stuff. Jóhann Jóhannsson, definitely check out Jóhann Jóhannsson's music. And there's a lot of music coming from Iceland now at the moment. Hildur Guðnadóttir, she won the Oscar last year for The Joker. She also did the music for Chernobyl. That stuff is amazing. And there's a dude called Ólafur Arnalds, phenomenal stuff. And there's a lot of stuff happening.
Yeah, from such a small country, a lot.
Yeah, it's insane how well music is doing, and
because
music has been thriving here for a long time.
Yeah, it's so inspiring, the landscape. There's water walls and volcano and whales, and that reminds me.
Yeah, that's a way to market it, but I think in reality, the musicians making this are mainly watching computers and old electronic gear.
Yeah, I imagine that would be a pretty much same that in Finland, in Lapland, sitting in the dark most of the year, except the summer.
Yeah. No windows because you have to have good sound.
Yeah. So Ari, this has been so nice. Always nice to chat. I really hope I come there before you come here. That's the nice way to say it?
It's probably like it could be a threat. I hope I come here.
I don't come here, I come there. Because you have been in Finland, you have been in my country. Remember always when we see you, I say, Ari Eldjárn, what are you doing in my country? Stealing my job.
I really hope you come here too. Now is the time. Just come here and quarantine for 5 days, and then again when you go to Finland, what's 10 days between friends?
Yeah. And now I've been starting to photographing wildlife, and I imagine the Iceland would be like a perfect place for that. Landscape photographing anyway, and birds. Yeah.
And just come and photograph the volcano. Wait till it's dark, and then just shoot away. My wife went there in the dark, and the crazy images she showed up with. Everyone's a great photographer if you have a volcano.
No, I don't want to walk there. I just saw them your picture until the night.
please come, and then we can go and shoot some stuff together. I have this lovely film camera that I'm using. So this is a nice little piece of machinery where you can.
That is so cool.
It's a lovely one, and it's like it's hand cranked. So you.
How many millimeters film?
This is 8mm film. This is a double Super 8 it's called. And if you want to be a hipster, just go around town with
that.
But don't try to do any selfies with it, because you will need an arm that's like 6 feet long.
The film must be pretty expensive.
Yeah, it's really expensive today, sadly. But you can sometimes buy old film for very little, and you can develop it with coffee. you can do stuff for cheap.
Yeah, what have you done with that?
Mostly family photos. This is like a COVID lockdown hobby to get back into making like vintage films. So I've been shooting like family pictures and developing it myself.
By the way, what was the one you were shooting? Was it Donald Duck?
Yeah.
It's still in YouTube.
Yeah.
What is it? Donald Ducks. What is it called?
Donald Duck dogma film. It's 10 years old now.
Yeah, that was it. So people can watch it. That was funny.
Yeah.
Donald Duck. Yeah. Well, listen, Ari. Always nice to talk. I hope to see you very soon. Be safe.
You too. Safe. And hope you get the jab soon. I think I'm due in June.
Yeah, I might have work after summer. One theater thing, but we have the band gigs, the comedians, our band gigs in the summer.
Those are the best.
Yeah, you were supporting a bass player in corporate.
That was one of the highlights of my life when you allowed me to play bass on Wicked Game.
Yeah,
great stuff.
But you were doing too good. I won't ask again. You will steal my. But then you did something like dun dun dun. I was like, oh my God, what have I done?
Oh, he did a scale.
Yeah, he did a scale on octave. Wow.
Hey, you trying to get me fired from the band? It's a dick move, buddy. You played an octave? Hey, kid, what do you think you're messing with here?
But listen, take care and everything.
You too. God bless.
Bye. So that was Ari Eldjárn. Thank you, Ari. Thank you for a nice chat, and you show me those volcano pictures and everything. And what a nice guy. What a nice guy. And you go see his Netflix special, Pardon My Icelandic. And thanks for watching. Remember to like, remember to subscribe, remember to comment, remember to not to go too close to your nearest volcano. volcano.